Hi everyone! So I'm doing a live Instagram today because today is National Psychotherapist Day. So I am extremely excited that there is a day dedicated just to mental health professionals in general. And to celebrate and to share, I'm gonna go over the top 10 reasons that makes me a dope therapist. So some of you may or may not know me, but just to get to know my audience and get to know others, I would like to share a little bit about what makes me a therapist different from colleagues around me, and just share a little bit about myself, because if we can't connect with others, how are we supposed to form bonds, right? So the number one that I will share is what makes me a dope therapist is my name, because my name is the only one in the world actually right now, until somebody else decides to name their baby with my name. So I'm really excited because my parents, I'm Latina, I'm Mexican descent, and they grew up speaking Spanish, but my name is actually Hebrew. It's actually Aramaic. It stemmed from the very, very old language, and it means always faithful. And I absolutely love telling people the story of my name because it's unique and it's different. And I remember being really young, like in kindergarten, and as well learning English because Spanish was my first language, and just thinking, like, who names their child ZEAHLOT? Really? Like, if learning your name and your ABCs wasn't hard enough, I think I was the only child in my classroom that it was just really tough to be like, where does the E go and where does the A go? But apparently I got it right over some time. So that is the first reason that makes me a dope therapist. And number two is languages. So I am bilingual and I do speak Spanish. And what I absolutely love about this is the fact that not only can I communicate myself in different parts of the world, but I love working with Latinos in my private practice, just because it's super funny, it's touching, it's cultural, it's amazing. There's so many sayings that we have in Spanish that are just, you can't really translate in any other language. I love how the language of Spanish is just so loving and so giving and just so emotional. I know for a fact that inside myself, when I'm feeling some kind of way, when I'm in my feelings and I'm feeling very strongly, I know that I say it in my head in Spanish. Like, I just like, ¿qué pasó? And it's an intense feeling, and I can share that with my clients and my patients all at the same time because we share that same culture, or even other cultures that understand what it's like as an English learner or learning a different language, right? So overall, I love speaking Spanish. Whenever I get the chance, I do so. Even in my work in the office here, 90% of my day is in Spanish, and then the rest of the world is English. So, woo-ha for speaking Spanish. Number three that makes me a dope therapist is my year-round tan. So I remember being really young, going to school and probably being the only child in the classroom with a year-round tan, just because my parents worked really, really hard when I was little, and they put us, in an area, and we lived in an area that was safer than most. And learning that I was the only child that spoke Spanish and nobody really related to me bringing tacos for lunch instead of sandwiches was a really big experience for me of learning about culture and about languages. But over time, I really embraced just being a woman of color and having melanin and just loving who I am. And overall, I can honestly say that I just love having this skin tone just because it's representative of who I am, and I've embraced it. So that's what makes me a dope therapist for number three. So number four is a fun fact that some people may or may not know about me, but it's that I can sing to the entire album of Dr. Dre's Chronic 2001. And this has to be one of my top favorite albums, not only because of the creativity that it has artistically, but it's just a really good album, like hands down. I don't know if anybody would agree, but that's a really good project. Like, that's art right there. So I definitely, if anybody's up to the challenge, we could sing together, see who knows the verses, who could rap it on. So that's number four. Number five is I can cook a bomb vegan meal. So that actually goes into another reason that makes me a dope modern therapist. But being Latina and vegan is definitely unique, and it's an experience. It took my family alone a while to come around to the idea that I was no longer gonna, participate in eating the pozole or the menudo or the tacos or the tamales. So it really just came down to them understanding that it's a lifestyle lifestyle, it's a choice, it's commitment, it's dedication. And it's really helped me just really get centered with myself and having that clean eating habits. And it just helps me stay summertime fun. So it's very good for the health. But just a fun fact that makes me a dope therapist is that I have a plant-based diet. So moving on is number 6. I actually learned how to drive a standard stick for a car at the age of 15. And I love being able to do this just because I've never really had to worry about driving in LA, an automobile, or anything having to do with whether or not I'm able to drive that car. And I love driving at night and just listening to music. That's definitely part of my self-care, and I'm not sure if anybody can relate to that, but if you can, go ahead and say hello. And I don't know, there's just something about driving an automatic car where you shift that you're extremely in tune and interactive with what it is you're doing. So that's what makes me a dope therapist at number 6. And number 7 is I own the entire series of Entourage. And if anybody has ever watched Entourage, it is one of my hands down favorite show, just because it's a whole group of guys and there's just so much humor in the show alone, and I can relate to that humor. And if there's anything I really love about seeing clients in my practice or just coaching people, it's the humor. If we can't laugh at ourselves, how can we interact with others, right? There's this saying that says that God plans, or we plan and God laughs, and I can't agree more than that. And Entourage, when I watch it on my downtime or self-care, it does it for me. I absolutely love it. I was really excited when it came out, like 10 years passed, and every single season that came out, I just bought them and I had them on repeat. I'll play them when I'm just cooking or cleaning or doing other things like paperwork. But I love Entourage, so if anybody can relate, let me know. Let's see here. Number 8. So number 8 is when I was 5, I won an Arby's contest for coloring the best little elephant. And this is really special to me because it's the first thing I ever won. And it's when I understood that whatever it is we manifest, the universe gives us. And it's the law of attraction. And I remember that the only reason that I had won that contest at 5 years old is because I colored the little tongue pink. And it's so important for a child to learn early on what they are capable of doing and what is meant for them and what they're able to accomplish. And I learned this really early on. I learned at 5 that if I really, really wanted to do something, I could do it. I encourage all my coaching clients to do what it is that they want to do. It's more about influencing others and what you're putting out into the world, right? Even as a therapist, when people say, you know, I just really want to have a better relationship with my mama, with my sister, with my brother, it's an amazing thing, because then weeks down the road, when we've done our work together collaboratively, the healing's happened, they're able to have that, and they're able to let others know that it is possible. So that's a little bit more about me. And number 9, as I mentioned earlier, is that I am a vegan Latina. So what is that like? What is a day in the life of a Latina vegan? It's tough, I have to tell you, because whenever I go to a Mexican restaurant or a Guatemalan restaurant, I kind of have to repeat myself twice, and they're like, so you want this but no meat, or you want the meat on the side for, you know, your family member or your friend. Yes. And it's really taught me how to just go with the flow. It's really taught me how to be the water that goes around the rock in a river, right? It's taught me how to be flexible, how to be open, not to have fear, and to still continue my plant-based diet, although people might think there's not a lot of options out there. So just in sharing that it's actually a choice. It's just when people decide to take heed in their health and have better overall just wellness, that it is possible, right? And number 10, what makes me a dope therapist is that every single day, whether it be in the morning or at night, but I prefer at night, is I write down one thing that I am grateful for my entire day. And most of the time, I have to tell you, it's the individuals I'm able to work with and connect with as a coach, as a therapist, as a mentor, as a tutor, at any of these. It's just so amazing to see people's growth and the capacity they have to actually really reach their goals. This is what I'm grateful for. On top of even like the warm water that, you know, that I'm able to have right away, instead of having to go find wood and fire up the water to warm up, because I have experienced that in my life, visiting family out of the country. They don't have the luxury of just turning on the key and then they have water. these experiences I'm extremely grateful for. Even when I've had a flat tire or my car isn't working, I am grateful, because who knows if I had had an accident down the road 10 minutes had I been on time, right? So definitely identifying what I'm grateful for every single day has made me a dope therapist on top of everything else. And as a bonus of what makes me a dope therapist is my colleagues. I am a true believer that if my colleagues are dope, that obviously makes me a dope therapist, because I am connection with them. Their shine is my shine. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the creators of this shirt right here. I love this shirt. I wear it everywhere because I want people to know therapy is a thing. There is no stigma associated with therapy. To Melanin and Mental Health, shout out, because I love the idea of being representative of a woman of color, a clinician of color. Fun fact, I don't know if you guys know, but across the nation in the United States, only 16% of mental health professionals are of color. And that is underrepresenting the population that actually needs mental health. So if that's not a movement, I don't know what is. And another quick shout out to a conference that's coming up October 5th and October 6th for all my colleagues is Therapy Reimagined. Shout out to Kirk and Katie, because this is what makes me a modern therapist. Getting in front of this camera, sharing with others, just letting them know that there are tools that are definitely much more modern to help and connect with other people that are looking for mental health. I definitely am really big on social media, but also letting others know that this is definitely a pathway that we can use collaboratively and in a beneficial way to help others with mental health. So as I mentioned earlier, this is just to celebrate the Psychotherapist Day, right? National Psychotherapist Day. And if you guys feel free to share this, or if you guys just want to, hey, let somebody know, hey, did you know it's Psychotherapist Day? So if anybody of you guys know a therapist, have a therapist, give them a shout out, say, hey, we are thankful for you and the work you are doing. So once again, thank you for listening. Quick short video, and have a great day.